What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, daily news, everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., with the economy, money, investing, the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you're new to our YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you so much for hitting the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. First up, let's go to a Fox News interview where Republican Senator Lindsey Graham was interviewed by Chris Wallace, which was his last interview. Chris Wallace does his best to stay neutral. He actually grilled Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is kind of slamming the Democrats on the stimulus package, the Build Back Better package. Lindsey Graham is pushing back against Senator Joe Manchin, trying to get Joe Manchin to not vote on this stimulus package. And this is very crucial here because Joe Manchin is the swing vote, the vote that is needed to pass this stimulus package. The Republicans had the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, go and have another score, another basically draw up a math on if they extended all these programs for up to 10 years or even permanently. So, for example, the child tax credits, which are only extended for 1 year in this bill, they had the Congressional Budget Office do a hypothetical, how much would it cost if they extended the child tax credits for 10 years? Even though in this bill, they only extended for 1 year. And they're doing that with all the programs in this bill and said, how much would it cost if they did that? Which the Democrats are calling fake news because, just as an example, the one thing we're talking about right now, the child tax credits are only extended for 1 year. The Democrats are saying the bill doesn't cost $5 trillion. We're only passing the child tax credits for 1 year. If we extend the child tax credits down the road for another year, we'll pay for those in a upcoming bill or something like that. Also, the Republicans could be in charge of the House and Senate next year as well. So that's what they're going to be talking about here. Check this out. And you're going to also see that Lindsey Graham kind of gets grilled here. Check this out.
On Friday, the CBO estimated the true cost of President Biden's social spending bill is not $1.75 trillion as advertised, but a staggering $4.9 trillion. Joining us now, South Carolina's Lindsey Graham, the top Republican on the Senate Budget Committee, who says the bill could be paving a path to socialism. Senator, welcome back.
Thank you.
You commissioned the Congressional Budget Office to project how much Build Back Better will cost over the 10 years, assuming that the programs that are in it, the spending programs that are in it, go on for 10 years and are not, as in the case with child care, just for 1 year. The CBO found instead of adding $200 billion to the deficit, it will add $3 trillion to the deficit. But Senator, the White House says that's fake because if the programs are extended, they'll find ways to pay for them.
Well, give me a plan to pay for them then. President Biden said the bill was fully paid for. Vice President Harris said it was paid for. Schumer, Pelosi, Secretary of Treasury Yellen. The CBO says it's not paid for. It's $3 trillion of deficit spending. It's not $1.75 trillion over 10 years. Is $4.9 trillion. What does this mean? The House should revote. The vote in the House was based on a fraud. This bill doesn't cost $1.75 trillion. It cost almost $5 trillion. It doesn't add $300 billion to the deficit. It adds $3 trillion. There is not a plan to pay for it. If there is, I missed it. So give it to me. Give it to the American people. Before we vote in the Senate, show me how you pay for this bill. And you know why I wrote a letter to CBO? Because Joe Manchin came to me and he said, I think this bill is full of gimmicks, that these programs won't go away, Lindsey. And if you score them for 10 years, I think the bill will double. Well, it didn't double. It was almost 2.5 times. So I hope that this will be a showstopper for Build Back Better.
But in 2017, President Trump and all Senate Republicans voted for The tax cuts then that added $2 trillion to the economy. And in fact, you talk about budget gimmicks. It used the same budget gimmick there, for instance, saying that individual tax cuts were going to end in 2025. Here's White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on that.
The plan they proposed and passed into law, the 2017 tax cuts, were $2 trillion, which were not paid for in any way, shape, or form. That didn't seem to upset them at all.
Senator, does she have a point?
Oh, no, not really. I like giving money back to the taxpayer. I don't like spending more money than we did in World War II, and that's what we're doing right now. This bill, Build Back Better, is $5 trillion. It's not 1.75. It will add $3 trillion to the deficit. When they tell you the bill is paid for, they're lying. When Nancy Pelosi brought it to the House with a CBO score of 1.75, it was a lie. When she said it was $300 billion to the deficit, it's a lie.
Respectfully, what Jen Psaki is saying, and a lot of Democrats are saying, is that when President Trump and you
what's that got to do with anything?
Let me just finish. Passed the 2017 Trump tax cut.
Yeah.
That was a lie. It wasn't paid for.
No, what happens is you can't go beyond 10 years in terms of the budget window. We voted knowing that cutting taxes we believe would be good. I never said that cutting taxes. I voted for cutting taxes. I'm against expanding the government. They're telling you it doesn't cost anything, Chris. Well, the CBO says it costs $3 trillion. Joe Manchin, if you're watching, you were right, Joe. You got this right. It is a lie. It's $4.9 trillion, not 1.75. Okay. It's $3 trillion. So Joe Manchin was right. Now, what the hell are you going to do about it? If you say it's going to be paid for, give me the offsets. Do you raise taxes by $3 trillion? Do you cut the government by $3 trillion?
You can see Republican Senator Lindsey Graham getting visibly upset there when Chris Wallace on Fox News, a Republican station, interviewed him there and asked him the tough questions. And honestly, those are the questions I would have asked him as well, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, as my father would say. Republicans did pretty much in kind of the same thing there. They passed a massive spending bill as well in 2017, known as the 2017 Trump tax cuts, okay, through the reconciliation process, okay? They passed it when they controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency without a single Democratic vote, okay? And that added over $2 trillion to the deficit, okay? This was not a stimulus package. This was not during the pandemic. This was not like hey, we got to pass this for, COVID or anything like that. So the Republicans did that without a single Democratic vote. So Lindsey Graham is saying that the reconciliation process is a budget gimmick, or he's saying, whether depending on how you're considering how he's wording it there, he's either saying the reconciliation process is a budget gimmick, or he's saying it's a budget gimmick that they're only sunsetting it for a few years. So, for example, saying the child tax credits are only going to be for 1 year, or some of these other programs are only going to be for a few years. But it's kind of weird to say, it's kind of weird that they want to pin all of this on the Democrats per se. When you think about the things in this bill, first of all, the child tax credits have been around for 23 years. We'll just take that as the first thing here. They've been around for 23 years. They started off as just a couple $100, then they were $500, then they were $1,000, and then former President Donald Trump raised them from $1,000. Him and his daughter actually were the ones that pushed for it, and they raised it in the 2017 tax cuts. They raised it from $1,000 to $2,000, okay? And now the Democrats raised it from $3,000 to $3,600 in the third stimulus check package, and now they have the monthly payment option, okay? So it is more money, and it has the monthly payment option. I think the monthly payment option is a really good thing because people don't get it all in a one lump sum at tax time and kind of spend it. And 2, 3, 4 months later, it's all gone. It's spread out over the year. So people use it for food and rent a lot better. That's been proven in studies. When people get a one lump sum, it tends to be gone just a few months later. And about 50% of the money is literally used for children's food. Okay, just as a one lump thing. When we talk about the other things in here, extra Medicare benefits for seniors, lowering the cost of prescription drug pricing, paying for child care and preschool for children. Just as an example, low and affordable housing, $150 billion for affordable housing, healthcare and Medicaid, healthcare for pregnant women. We talk about all the different things in this bill. Why are Democrats being forced to only pay for this? It's kind of weird, right? We talk about all those things, right? Why is this a Democrat only thing that like we're talking about paying for this in the future for now they want to, Republicans have come up with this kind of plan to have the CBO pay, come up with this new bill or this new report to how much would this cost if all these plans were pushed out to go for 10 more years, right? And now they come up with this number of $4.9 trillion and say, oh, look what this would cost if all these things went for 10 years. And say, look, the Democrats want to, have this bill cost $4.9 trillion. It's kind of weird when you talk about that. Why is this Democrat only? When you think about all those things, well, we'll go back to the child tax credits as the first thing. Former President Donald Trump was the one Republicans who raised the child tax credits. We talk about Medicare benefits for seniors. We talk about preschool and childcare. We talk about lowering prescription drug pricing. We talk about billions of dollars in rental assistance. We talk about mortgage assistance. We talk about building affordable housing. We talk about lowering the cost of prescription drug pricing. We talk about, all these different things, right? There's just a lot of different things in this package. Why is it the Democrats being forced to pay for this only? It's kind of weird, right? Like, are all those things only Democrat only things? I don't know. Kind of strange to me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, it's almost like, are only Democrats going to get those benefits and not Republicans? Totally weird.
Let's talk about what's in the Build Back Better plan. Families in your state of South Carolina with 2 children, on average, now spend 21% of their income on child care. The Build Back Better plan would cut that to 7% of their income on child care. Pre-pandemic, 14% of children in South Carolina lived in poverty. By blocking Build Back Better, you'd end a child tax credit of up to $3,600 per year per child. Senator, just as a practical matter, won't that hurt a lot of families in your state?
As a practical matter, my families in my state are getting crushed by inflation. 6.8% inflation number came out Friday. It's the highest inflation rate in 40 years. So it makes your paycheck go less. It's crushing people who are working. So if you pass Build Back Better, it declares war on fossil fuels. It gives tax credits to buy electric vehicles made by union plants, which hurts BMW and Volvo. This bill, Build Back Better, will be gasoline on the inflation problem. It destroys the ability to extract fossil fuels. Gas prices went up 58%. The last thing I'm going to do is add more burdens to working families in South Carolina. And here's my message to the Democratic Party. Quit lying about this bill. They should revote it in the House. And Senator Manchin, you were right. I hope you'll stand up and stop this madness. We need to stop Build Back Better before it destroys this country.
All right, let me talk to you about another issue. This week, 14 Senate Republicans voted with the Senate Democrats to set up a process, not to vote to increase the debt limit, but to set up a process so the Democrats by themselves could vote to increase the debt limit. You were not happy about those 14 Republicans, the way this played out, and you blasted Senate Leader McConnell for setting the GOP up to, quote, get shot in the back. And then you said this, quote, it's pretty obvious to me that this will not be received well by the Republican faithful, including Donald Trump. Senator, are you that worried about former President Trump and his base?
What I'm worried about is that for 4 months, the Republican Senate said we would not lift a finger to help the Democrats raise the debt ceiling. We would make them use reconciliation, which is they can do by themselves, to raise the debt ceiling because that's the process they use to spend the money. At the end, we did not make them use reconciliation. We changed the rules of the Senate in a House bill. I don't like that a lot. I like Senator McConnell, but here's what happened. 70% of Senate Republicans voted against this, and every House Republican but one voted against it. What we did is promise one thing and deliver another. It was a mistake.
But, sir, I mean, in the end, the Democrats are going to end up raising the debt limit by themselves. All we're talking about here is setting up a process so they can do it. Is that really such a big deal?
It apparently was to every House Republican. It was apparently a big deal to 70% of the Senate Republicans. It's a big deal to me. The way we did this is we literally changed the rules of the Senate and a House bill. We did not use the reconciliation process. But here's my point. If we're going to be successful in 2022, we're going to have to work together as a team. And here's what I would say every Republican. If you want to be a Senate Republican leader in the House, a Republican leader in the House or the Senate, and you don't have a working relationship with Donald Trump, you cannot be effective. So I hope we'll get on the same page here.
But, you know, what we're talking about here is something a lot more serious than the process to set up the debt vote. If you don't raise the debt limit, the country defaults. If that happens, it tanks the markets. It probably puts us in a recession. It means that things like Social Security checks and veterans benefits don't go out. Do you really want to play politics with that?
Every time we raise the debt ceiling, we get something for it, generally speaking. I wanted to have some budget reforms. Nancy Pelosi, the last time we raised the debt ceiling on Trump's watch, wanted more spending. What we said as a party is we're going to make them use the reconciliation process to raise the debt ceiling. The Democrats caused this problem. They needed to fix it. If you do it, if you help them, you're legitimizing this spending. So it really is not about the process as much as it's about keeping your word. We let a lot of people down. Senator McConnell's been a great leader on many things, but we're going into an election cycle where the wind's to our back. We can't do this again. But when you look forward to this party, Donald Trump is the most consequential Republican in the entire Republican Party, maybe in the history of the party since Ronald Reagan. And if you're going to lead this party in the House and the Senate, you have to have a working relationship with Donald Trump or it will not work.
So you heard him say there that he thinks they should have got something for raising the debt limit with the Democrats there. I was surprised to hear him say that so bluntly. Yeah. But Chris Wallace, I actually kind of commend him there for being so forthright there and not just agreeing with Lindsey Graham there and asking the tough questions. I think he did a good job there. Those are kind of the questions I would have asked to push back on him. Same thing if I was interviewing a Democrat, I would have asked the tough questions to push back on a Democrat as well. I think he did a good job. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, but what you could see we have here is we have a lot of fighting right now over the price tag of the stimulus package, and ultimately it's going to boil down to Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. You know their theme song, dun dun dun. Joe Manchin is really kind of the main key vote here. And, Lindsey Graham and the Republicans are speaking directly to him, literally, in that video. He said, Joe, if you're listening, and probably a good chance Joe Manchin was listening or is listening. And he says, Joe, if you're listening, you were right. You were right. So, yeah. And you also heard Lindsey Graham say, well, if they're going to extend these programs, let us see a plan for that. You can't really put a plan for how we're going to pay for extending a program 5 years from now or 7 years from now. You can't really put a plan for how, again, we'll just go with the example of the child tax credits, how you're going to extend that 5 years from now, the Congress could be a Republican Congress. How are the Republicans going to pay for that? Or how we're going to pay for a Medicare program 5 years from now? What if it's a Republican Congress, right? Are Republicans going to cut it? Are Republicans going to pay for it? We don't know. Are Republicans going to extend any of these programs? We don't know, right? I mean, we have no idea, right? It's a hypothetical, nearly impossible situation. You don't put forward a budget plan to pay for something 5 to 10 years from now. It's unheard of. It's impossible almost. I mean, nothing's impossible, right? But yeah, it's just and remember that the Republicans, Lindsey Graham himself, they passed the 2017 tax cuts that had no pay-fors at all. There was literally no pay-fors. It added over $2 trillion to the deficit. It's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts here. Yeah, I'm going to keep you up to date here with everything. But this is the argument going on here with this Build Back Better package, which the Democrats are trying to pass through the reconciliation process, which is the same reconciliation process that the Republicans passed through the reconciliation process, which means that basically one party passes it on their own in the Senate with just 50 votes. Okay, that's what the Republicans did in 2017, and the Democrats are trying to do now with the Build Back Better package. So I'll keep you up to date here. Make sure to subscribe down below. We're also going to be doing our What's in the Box contest this week, or we're going to be starting it this week here. We're going to be giving away $2,000 in total starting this week here. So definitely don't miss any new videos. New videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet so you don't miss out on new videos. And after subscribing, you can click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button down below. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And this video is about the new Social Security raises. They want to raise Social Security benefits by several $100s per month. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.